You're listening to the How to Talk to Girls podcast, where you'll learn step-by-step how to meet and seduce beautiful women, whether you're looking for one night of fun, a week-long fling, or a long-term relationship. I'm your host, Trip, and the episode starts now. Hello and welcome to the How to Talk to Girls podcast. I'm your host, Trip Kramer from tripadvice.com. Welcome back to another episode here for you. We got some good stuff today. We're going to be going over some texting advice. I got a 2-word text message that you can literally send right now to a girl that you're dating to hopefully get a response. I'm also going to be going over a question that I received to the email, trip@tripadvice.com, that I think is going to be really helpful for you. We're talking about sexual anxiety, which is coined by our friend Matthew here, but it's definitely something that I know guys have, whether they're calling it sexual anxiety or something else. So we'll be going over that as well. So we have a packed episode. First, I want to let you know and remind you that you can receive coaching. Yes, I know I'm so repetitive. I say it every podcast, but I know we have new listeners, so I got to let them know that coaching is available. You're like, what's coaching? Coaching is where I can help you one-on-one over the phone or in person. And basically, I'm guiding you through the whole process of being able to meet, attract women, get dates, get girlfriends, get over your approach anxiety, defeat your shyness, and be able to basically date the women that you want. I know that you're probably in this place where you'd love to have your choice of woman. I don't know who wouldn't want that. And so that's what I help with. And I'm going to be pointing out your flaws and your errors. And I help you specifically come up with a customized plan so you can start dating beautiful women. I take on clients every single week, and there are some openings left. So why don't you apply today at coachedbytrip.com. Again, that's coachedbytrip.com, Trip with 2 P's, and we can get you on board. I'm happy to work with you, and a lot of people are applying, so make sure you get yours in today. I do read every single application. Also, there's something else I wanted to mention. You know, a lot of you don't really know that you can leave me a review, and I rarely say this, but there is an option for you to leave a review for me, a customer review as they call it, even though you're not a customer because you're listening for free. But if you go to iTunes, I would be very appreciative if you left me a review because I want to hear the feedback. So please leave me a review on iTunes so I can hear from you and I can read basically your comments. So if you're enjoying the podcast, if you have gotten help from it in any way whatsoever, I'd really appreciate that. That'd be kind of like your thank you to me in terms of, me giving you all these amazing podcasts to help you out. So help me out, write a review, because when you write a review, what happens is the podcast gets sent out to more people. It becomes more relevant in the what's hot area of iTunes, and it's in top 200 in self-help. So it moves it up. And so you're not just doing a favor to me, but more people, because it makes it easier for people to find the How to Talk to Girls podcast. So please leave a review in the customer reviews in iTunes. That'd be much, much appreciated. Thank you. Let's get into today. So we have a 2-word text message, that you can use. So this is something that you can use whether a girl has not responded to you or responded to you. Okay, so whether she's not responded to you or responded to you. So this is what I want you to do. And again, this doesn't work every time, but it does work a lot of the time. And basically what you're going to be doing is sending a text message that offers intrigue. It's getting her intrigued by you and what you're saying, okay? So what you're going to be saying is, oh boy, ... That's what you're going to say. Oh boy, ... That's it. That's what you're going to say. Try that right now. That creates intrigue, and she's going to be like, what is he saying? What's going on? Why is he saying that? Or you can say, oh, wow. So, oh, wow, ... Try that. It's really cool. It works. But here's the thing, and this is where you're going to have to come in here. I'm going to have to set it up. You knock it down. The setup is you say, oh boy, or oh wow, but you better have something to follow up with. It better not be stupid, right? You better not have something in there that's just like, oh, nothing, just wanted to say hi, or oh, I haven't seen you in a while, like really boring, needy text messages. No, like have something, maybe something interesting that's going on. Maybe you're watching a show that's interesting, something happened on the show. Maybe it's something you guys have talked about. And by the way, you're not going to be using this to gain attraction, okay? You're using this to get her to respond to you. And the response should always lead into you then asking her out. So don't just use this and text it to a girl so you guys can start having a text message conversation. It should always lead into you asking her out. So you're going to be using oh wow or oh boy to get her to respond, talk about the thing that you're intrigued by, so you're getting her intrigued by. And then from there, you move to the point where you're saying, hey, what's your schedule like next week? We should grab a drink. We should grab some food. We should go bowling. We should go to this arcade. We should grab some coffee, whatever it is, right? Some sort of little activity or some sort of drink or food or something just for you guys to get together and go on a date and start hanging out, okay? So there you go. And I hope you understand that texting is, and I talk about this a lot on the YouTube channel. There's a lot of videos about texting. I talk about the fact that texting is a vessel, right? It's basically just a communication vessel for you guys to communicate and to then meet up. So please don't get caught up in all these crazy text message conversations. I'm working with clients right now. So that's one of the services that I provide when it comes to coaching is I actually help you text the girls that you're meeting, that you're dating. I will write the text messages for you. You will send them so then you can learn how to do it properly. So I write these text messages and I basically am writing text messages that are very direct and eventually getting the girl to go out with the guy because that's the whole trick, okay? So I'm working with this client right now and he's said to me the other day, like, wow, I can't believe how this works. Like, you're just being so direct. And she's just responsive. And I say direct in terms of just going and asking her out and being very simple with, here's the plan, here's what's going on, here's where we're meeting, and this is what's happening. It's not just a bunch of fluff conversations. So we took him from having a bunch of fluff, boring conversation with the women that he's texting with, and nothing's ever happening. And by the way, that's fine. If you just want to have texting buddies and that's your goal, by all means. But I can probably guess that you're not looking for texting buddies. You want a woman that you're actually interested in. You want either a casual sexual relationship with them, or you actually like them and you want to date them and potentially have more of a relationship with them. So if I'm correct here, which I'm sure I am, then you got to make sure that texting always leads to a meetup. That is the goal. So I gave you a little, technique there. Use it. See if it works for you, just to get her to respond and then move into a meetup. And you know what could happen is you could use this text message. She could respond because it's so intriguing. And then you could ask her out and then nothing could happen. And here's the thing. There was nothing that you could have done at that point to get her to meet up with you. It's just that she was never attracted to you in the first place. Okay, so you have to understand that. She was never attracted to you in the first place, and there's no text message that you can send that's going to make her turn around and think differently of you. She's not interested, and that's okay because you're going to practice the abundant mindset, abundance mentality, and you're going to move on and meet other women that are available to you. Okay, so let's make sure we focus on that. All right, let's move into a question. That's right. We got a question from a listener, someone who emailed in. You can also email in your question, and if it's nice and thorough and has a very unique twist to it, I will be answering it here on the podcast. Okay, so this is from Matthew, and here it goes. Hello, Trip. My name is Matthew. I'm currently 31 and live in Alberta. That sounds like Canada. I have purchased your program, Hooked, and have been going through the material. Awesome. By the way, if you want to get your hands on Hooked, go to getherhooked.com. It is really easy to understand and follow through, so great job. I also listen to your podcasts and find every tip you explain very helpful. Let me explain my situation, then I will ask the question at the end. I don't find myself feeling much anxiety when I go out, even though I approach someone who I just feel like talking with doesn't cause that much anxiety. However, when it comes to meeting a woman and I feel like I want to escalate things sexually, or even if I notice a stunning woman pass by or sitting down somewhere that I want to approach, I always get this feeling of anxiety. It kind of feels like my mind is coming up with excuses to not escalate, or I will creep the woman out. In other words, the problem I'm noticing the most is sexually escalating the interactions with women. From my point of view, It looks like I might have sexual anxiety, not social anxiety. If you could explain what exactly is sexual anxiety, what are some of the symptoms of sexual anxiety? Are there any similarities between sexual anxiety and social anxiety? How can you effectively treat sexual anxiety? Cheers, Matthew. All right. Well, you kind of coined a term, sexual anxiety. I don't know if that is an actual thing. Social anxiety is. I'm not sure the clinical term for it. But what you are experiencing is a form of anxiety, or we'll just say nervousness and shyness around being sexual with a woman. Now, here's the thing. There's a couple of ways to answer this. First of all, one, just so you understand, I am not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. So your sexual anxiety could stem from something from childhood, something in your psyche. So if it is, really pretty tough on you to solve this problem and some of the advice I give you doesn't work, or you feel that this is coming from a different place other than shyness, like something else feels weird, then you might want to see a therapist or a psychologist and talk to them about those issues and kind of see where that stems from. So it's hard for me to give you an answer of where it could be coming from if it's something that is coming from a deeper level, so to speak. But it could be, and I'm guessing it might be just a shyness around escalating with a woman and getting sexual. And where does that shyness come from? Well, it comes from a fear, and the fear is usually fearing that you're going to screw up or fearing a rejection of some sort. And that's, usually what that fear is. And it could be around anything. In this case, it's around getting sexual or escalating with the woman. So of course, I'm going to take a wild guess here, and I'm probably correct that you don't have a lot of experience sexually with women. If you did have a lot of experience sexually with women, you might still be nervous, but it wouldn't be as big of a deal, right? Like you'd still be able to go for the kiss or escalate sexually with her to sex, to the bedroom, and you'd be able to do that with little to no problem if you had a lot of experience. So you probably don't have experience. So what I'm guessing here is the sexual anxiety and the social anxiety are just very similar. The only difference is one is socializing and one has to do with sexuality, you being sexual with the woman. So you're probably scared of the rejection, which a lot of people who have social anxiety are scared of rejection, and you're probably scared of judgment, which is also something that people with social anxiety have. They're afraid of the judgment of others, of people judging them and thinking poorly on them. Like a woman might think poorly of you if you're a bad kisser, or you can't get an erection, or you're just, kind of awkward with the way that you're touching her. And you might be thinking like, oh man, I can't handle this judgment. So it could be coming from a self-esteem issue, which again could be helped by going to a therapist and talking some of those issues out if it's coming from a deeper level. And if you're kind of sitting here being like, well, Trip, I don't know if this is coming from something deep or not, well, then that's where you would kind of use both things. We'll talk about a solution here in a minute, but you'd also check out going to therapy to see what's going on and seeing if it's coming from a deeper place, like childhood or something like that. So you kind of want to take all options here. Now, what I'm saying here in terms of a solution is going to be very similar to something I say in terms of getting over your social anxiety. And it's going to be tough to hear, but there is a system to it. So of course, in order to get over any fear, what do you have to do? Well, you have to do the thing that scares you. If you're afraid of heights, you're going to have to stand on a balcony, of course, safely, right? But if you want to get over the fear of snakes, you're going to have to expose yourself to snakes. If you want to get over your fear of social anxiety or approaching, you're going to have to approach. If you want to get rid of your fear or anxiety around sexuality, you're going to have to be sexual with the woman or at least attempt it. So basically, what I'm saying here is we're going to have to get you doing this. But the good news is you don't have to kind of jump in right away. You don't have to think that you have to jump in and be amazing at sex or be able to go for sex right away. What you can do is just take it one thing at a time. Now, I'm going to put a pin on that real quickly and talk about this idea of you being scared to escalate in terms of where we are in today's society. What you have to understand that is you might be scared that a woman might totally freak out if you are, escalating with them or going for a kiss or trying to have sex with them. You got to understand that women, nothing's changed. Women want to have sex with you. They want to have sex with men, well, at least ones that are heterosexual. They want to have sex with you, but they don't want to do it with a guy they're A, not attracted to, and B, is not asking for consent. They want to have amazing mind-blowing consensual sex with a man they're attracted to. They want to be physical and they want to kiss and do foreplay and all the sexual things with a man that they're attracted to that is asking for consent. Okay. Now, I think that there's a line here. I don't think that you have to ask for consent to necessarily give her a hug or, go for a kiss. Of course, if she rejects you and says no, then you stop. I think that, it's just to the point where, if you guys are getting hot and heavy and you're kissing and clothes are coming off and you get to the point where you're about to have sex, then at that point, you ask for consent sexually. But before that, I think you can just go for the kiss. I don't think you need to ask a woman if you want to kiss her. I think it's going to be fine. I think maybe 1 out of 100 would be that upset that you didn't ask for consent. And I actually want to increase that to 1 out of 1,000. In fact, I've kissed many girls in my life. It's never happened to me, and I've never heard that happen to anyone that I've ever known. So don't worry about escalating on kind of the minimal level sexually of you just kind of, going out and meeting women and, going for some of the, normal escalation techniques that you might hear from me or on the internet in terms of like hugging or handshaking or touching her on her shoulder when you're trying to make a point or, pulling her in and giving her a kiss, something like that. Women want this from you. Okay. So if you're nervous that she doesn't want you to do that, she does. You just got to make sure that you are being the most amazing, attractive guy that you can. And I talk about that on the podcast. I talk about that on my Hooked program, right? And I even help you with that through coaching. So all that stuff is in the works while you're sexually escalating. Okay. Now let's go back to the other point. So how do you still get better at this? Well, one is the mindset I gave you. Understand that women want to be sexual with you. And also the second thing is that you can practice this, right? It's like something you can work on slowly. So in terms of getting over your sexual anxiety, maybe you approach women and you start practicing giving them a high five. I know it sounds kind of lame, but at least it's a start. Giving them a high five or giving them a handshake, okay? Or, once you're on a date, just continue to practice and going for the kiss at the end of the night. That's something I know I had to practice. I was also very nervous to kiss a girl at the end of the date, not knowing if she liked me or not, being scared of that rejection. And I just made myself do it. And I said, you know what? If I'm going to get rejected, I'm going to get rejected and whatever. And sometimes I got rejected. Most of the time I didn't. And when I got rejected, it wasn't a big deal. It just said to me, okay, she's not ready for a kiss yet. She's not fully attracted to me. She doesn't trust me yet. And maybe this is the last date. I'll never see her again. Or maybe she wants to go out with me again and then she will be comfortable for a kiss. And then again, about maybe 50% of the women that didn't kiss me, we did go out again and then we did kiss and she just wasn't comfortable to do it on the first date. But some people are, most people are, especially if they're attracted to you and they had a good date. So you got to understand, again, coming to both points here, women are interested in doing that with you and you can just work your way slowly. So don't think that every single interaction has to be so amazing that it all has to always lead to sex or always has to lead to a makeout or something. You can start it off very, very slowly. So again, that's kind of how I help guys through the coaching program at the very least with social anxiety or approach anxiety is you go out and you kind of take your time and you do these little small approaches, little small baby steps in order for you to get over that fear. This is a process called systematic desensitization, which is basically desensitizing you to the fear that you have. And in this case, it's being sexual. Okay. So you're asking, what are the symptoms of sexual anxiety? Well, I mean, in terms of what you're experiencing, it's just the anxious feelings, the anxious thoughts in your brain, the physiological feelings in your body. Maybe you're shaking, your heart's pounding fast, you're breathing faster. But if you want to effectively treat this situation, you're going to have to just get over the fact that you think that women don't want you sexually, and then you're going to have to just kind of go for it. Okay, again, just to be very clear here, and I have to be because, we're living in an interesting time here where I guess guys are not understanding really the appropriate level, but I think it's okay to go for a kiss. I think it's okay to touch a woman in appropriate places when you first meet her, like her shoulder, her elbow, her hand. I think that's fine. Obviously not, touching her on her breasts or her butt or her vagina or anywhere that in your head is kind of like off limits. You only do that when you're in an intimate moment with her. somewhere, where you guys are alone in your place, at her place, okay? And then if you want to have sex, you ask for consent, which is not a big deal. You just say, hey, should I go get a condom? Or you just say, hey, do you want to have sex? And trust me when I say that that's not going to ruin the mood. She's going to be happy that like, oh, wow, this guy is being very gentlemanlike, and it's going to turn her on even more, really. So you have nothing to lose when you ask for consent. So I know that it seems like you have to really tiptoe around this situation, but I think you're making it bigger of a deal than it really is. And I think we do that all the time just because we're scared of judgment. We're scared of the judgment that we're going to get from other people. But remember, is that the only person who has valid thoughts about you is you. So if you love yourself, if you respect yourself, you like yourself, then that's all that matters. And stop worrying about what other people are thinking as long as you're doing the right thing, which I believe I'm teaching you here on the podcast. Good question here. If you want to go ahead and ask a question, you can email trip@tripadvice.com. I'll try to get it here on the podcast. And don't forget, coaching is available. Coachedbytrip.com is the way to apply for coaching, and I hope to hear from you. Like I said, I read all the applications, and I will definitely be helping you along your journey of meeting and attracting amazing women. It was a good episode. Great episode. Great questions. Thanks for joining. Talk to you next week.